Well, the comparison has always been on for quite a while.
Yeah.
What's the latest that we have on it, and what's the IMF's view that's sort of validating the argument?
Well, we have a special issue of Bloomberg Markets on rivalry, and rivalry is what makes markets work. You know, it's rivalry between companies, between even CEOs, and you've got rivalry between countries as well. You know, and we chose China and India because I mean they're these two giants, 2.5 billion people. You know, 40% of the world's population, and they're growing so quickly that they've lifted almost 700 million people out of poverty. You know, and of course China's been leading the way so far for most of the last 40 years, but this year India is actually going to overtake China.
So does this make it the most important emerging market, and do you see India's rise vis-a-vis China being much faster?
No, it doesn't make it the most important emerging market. China is still five times larger than India, you know. And Jim O'Neill, the man who coined the term BRIC, you know, he just said to us the other day that if India grows at 8% for the rest of this decade and China grows at 7%, then China is still going to create 3 more Indias, you know, before the end of the decade. So China is still huge, much huger, but India is going to be faster growing, and a lot of money is moving towards India. $42 billion, I think, last year went into Indian stocks and bonds, and investors are actually, are making that move. You know.
So Bill, if you were to look at the race between these two countries, is this a race for investments, or are there other factors at play? No,
there's other factors at play. Investment is one, but this is a huge geopolitical issue. I mean, these two giants, you know, they fought a war 50 years ago. You know, they've got a 4,000-kilometre long border, and they're still having border clashes. You know, so no, and China is trying to get into the Indian Ocean. It's trying to get ports in Pakistan and Myanmar. India's worried about that, and China's worried about India's growing relationship with the US and also with countries like Vietnam.
Sure. You've also seen Prime Minister Modi, in a sense, create a chemistry with Xi, and there have been visits by both these leaders. There's been quite a bit of bonhomie between the two countries. Is this a new chapter in Indo-China relations? Would that mean that the tensions have reduced?
I wouldn't put it that far. It was very well choreographed, you know, and it was very nice to see President Xi entertaining Modi in his hometown of Xi'an and vice versa. But when Xi visited India last year, in fact there was a border clash. It just happened at the time, you know, and that sort of soured the bonhomie that you referred to. Also, a Chinese submarine anchored in Sri Lanka, which was also something that I think concerned India, and it raises the question, you know, how sincere is China?